Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Reincarnated in Marvel as a gamer. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 71. Alex Walker POV. I stared in shock as Copycat's husk of a body lay on the ground. I had no idea what had happened or how it had happened. 1 second, I was about to fight her, the next she transformed into me, and then, she died. It was all so fast, so sudden, and so frightening that I didn't know what to think. What struck me the most was not just the way she died but her screams for mercy. They were screams of pure and utter fear. By the time I managed to come out of my state of shock, the camp, once filled with soldiers and others, was empty, with dozens of red dots fading away on the minimap. And the truth was, I had no energy to pursue them, emotionally speaking. Quest completed, the hunt for Project. Rewards, Weapon X research data, Abraham Cornelius Super Soldier research data, 25.000.000 EXP. By killing Stryker and not capturing some X-subjects, some rewards have been eliminated. With an ironic laugh, I sighed, sitting down on the ground. It made sense, I had killed Stryker and eliminated almost everyone I was supposed to capture. With an exhausted sigh, I opened a portal to Fury's office, just noticing that my magic was no longer being blocked. I guess the witches decided to live to fight another day, I commented. Fury, upon seeing me enter his office, smiled. I wasn't expecting you today. I finished doing what you asked me to do, I said, getting straight to the point. Fury, being who he was, read the underlying subtext of my expression. I'll take care of cleaning this up, the super spy declared. Okay, I replied, opening a portal to my house. I needed a bath and a nap to erase some of what I experienced today. Killing people was already usual for me, torturing the same. But how Copycat died, to see her vomit her whole being, her organs, her bones, her everything, I wasn't totally prepared for that. After a hot bath and a 2-hour nap, I got ready to pick up Natasha and Emily from school as I had promised them a week ago. Daddy! Emily said, getting into the car with a smile, followed by Natasha. Mr. Walker. Natasha greeted me with considerably less enthusiasm compared to Emily. How was your day, girls? I asked as they put on their seatbelts. Well, I got an A+ on my math test, Emily replied proudly, showing off her test. Congratulations! I smile at her, giving her a kiss on the forehead. My day was, pretty normal, Natasha said with just the hint of a smile. Well, since you both had a normal day full of routine, who wants ice cream to celebrate? I smiled, glancing sideways at Natasha as I started the car to leave the school. Yes. Emily replied, basically screaming. I wouldn't mind. Natasha smiled, looking at Emily. Okay, so, gelato, here we come. I declared enthusiastically. After a delicious ice cream-filled afternoon, Natasha and Emily went to their respective after-school classes, Emily with the Ancient One, or Bald Granny as she calls her, and Natasha with a pair of former S.H.I.E.L.D. agents I had hired to teach her how to fight. Which left me alone, with not much to do. Hank was managing the company, the girls were busy, and I didn't want to do dungeons at the moment. I guess I can stick to my super soldier serum project for the time being, I said to myself as I sank into my $5,000 couch. I should stop spending on Italian stuff, they are too comfortable. Using all my willpower to get up from the couch, I walked to my lab, pulling out the data I had gained from my last mission out of my inventory. Abraham Cornelius Super Soldier data. Maybe with that, I would be able to finish deciphering the formula. Or maybe nothing would happen, the chances were unpredictable, but for my own sake, I would not stop until I succeeded. Russia succeeded, Hydra succeeded, it would be sad if I was the only one that didn't. Absorbing the data I had obtained. So many of the questions and problems I had had so far with the formula came to an end. But even so, the formula was still not clear, but now, unlike before, I could see more of the picture, the image, the painting of the formula in its splendor. I had to admit, Abraham Cornelius was a genius. His research had saved me a couple of years on my side, to the point that I could almost taste the complete formula. I could feel it brushing against my fingertips. And to think that a single scientist managed to create this complex formula, one I was still struggling to decode, but he simply created during such a sad technological time, and during the WW2 to add salt to the injury, geniuses like him were 1 in a billion. Well, time not to sleep to see if I make progress on anything, I said with a renewed enthusiasm. With this leap of information, I felt I was closer to my goal. Meow? Goose meowed, startling me a little. What are you doing here? I said, grabbing the cat off the floor. You ate my back door again, didn't you? Goose purred, looking proud that she had eaten my back door. Goose, that's bad. I've already changed 47 doors this month, I said with a laugh. Goose simply purred louder, looking even more proud than before, as if smiling at the number of doors she had devoured this month only. In the end, alien or not, a cat was a cat. Let's go before you start throwing up door pommels on my lab. I chuckled, walking out of the lab with Goose on my arms, who continued to purr at my touch. Maybe I could try and feed her more tuna. Perhaps if I doubled her rations of premium exported tuna, she would stop eating my lab doors. Who am I kidding? She just hates my lab as the only room in the house that is always closed, and cats have a thing for closed rooms, they just can't accept them being closed. Chapter 72. It had been a month since my last mission with Fury, and during these last 30 days, I had focused on my lab work, but still, the vibrant memories of Copycat and her death haunted me in the darkest corners of my subconscious. I didn't understand why death was something I had already seen in large numbers, to the point that I no longer saw any difference between slaughtering animals for food or killing a human to complete my goals. Her death, although brutal and painful, shouldn't affect me. What bothered me was not her death as such, it was her look of dread after transforming into me, after trying to use my powers against me. Her screams for mercy. I had to be honest with myself. What really kept Copycat's last moments on Earth in my mind was the doubt she had awakened in me. Where did my powers come from? I wasn't so blind not to notice similarities in what happened to Copycat and what happened to Beetlejuice when he tried to possess Subaru. And even though my only sample comparison came from an anime, it was the only thing that made sense to me. Either that or my immunity to psychic attacks killed her. But I really didn't have much to go on. I had no idea if Copycat's power was psychic in nature, never read much about her. All I knew was that she was like Mystique, but somewhat better. Maybe I just needed to focus on my work even more. Taking a deep breath, I turned on the lights in my lab and began to work, when suddenly, I noticed something. 2 red dots were currently approaching my house. By the looks of it, they were roughly 4 miles away from the neighborhood. I don't get a day off. I sighed, opening a portal to my kitchen to make a sandwich, considering I had like 10 minutes before they were dangerously close. Care to make me one? Natasha said as she walked into the kitchen with a small smile on her face. Little by little, she was warming up to me. With Emily on the other hand, they were super tight, like real sisters. It's surprising how fast Emily manages to capture the hearts of others. Sure. I nodded. Extra ham on mine, I am a growing young lady after all. Natasha grinned. I chuckled. Dad. Was the last thing I heard before Emily tackled with a portal hug, which is basically her opening a portal behind me to avoid possible escapes. Not sure why I would never deny her a hug. Sup, champ? I smiled, ruffling her hair. Want a sandwich? Yes, I do. Emily nodded, jumping off me to sit beside Natasha. Extra cheese and lettuce. Coming right up. I nodded. Moments like this really take a huge weight out of me. Who would have thought I would come to crave normality? Princess Goose also wants one, but with tuna, Emily said. Princess Goose? I raised an eyebrow at that as I turned around to face Emily, just to see her in goose with a cat's-eyes tiara on her head. How? I made it, Emily replied proudly. Once again, how? I asked as Natasha started to giggle under her breath. With magic. Emily grinned. Meow. Goose purred, her chest puffing proudly. She obviously liked the tiara. I also made her a dress, but I'm still trying to convince her to let me put it on her. Emily pouted. I'm sure Goose will eventually let you dress her up, I replied, getting a small narrow glare from Goose. Oops, I mean, Princess Goose. At this, she purred. She was really getting into her new role. I also made Nat a tiara, but she refuses to wear it in public. Emily pouted, her eyes narrowing as she looked at Natasha. I have a reputation to uphold. Natasha defended with a small smile. Kids think I'm the tough girl, can't tarnish that. Princesses are tough. Emily defended, with Goose nodding at her side. Okay. Enough about that, let's eat. I chuckled, giving the girls their sandwiches, extra cheese and lettuce for Emily, and extra ham for Nat. Meow. Goose complained. I apologize, Your Highness. I bowed with a smile, giving her her tuna sandwich. After giving the girls and Her Royal Highness their sandwiches, I teleported to where the red dots currently were, a 2-star cheap motel. Apparently, they changed course to the closest motel to camp the night. I am very insulted, now they don't even pay my enemies good hotels, but our motels. I chuckled, kicking the door to their room open. When I kicked the door of the STD farm known as the Hourly Motel, I expected many things, 1 burning my boots after finishing the enemies, 2 rats, maybe? But Alexei and Melina were not something I expected. Sir, this is our room, Melina said as Alexei approached her, looking at me with a warm smile. Oh yeah, he didn't know how I looked. Didn't I impale you? I asked, pointing to his stomach. I mean, he looked fine, fucking super soldier cheat. What happened next took 2 seconds at best, 1 for them to realize who I was and 2 for them to draw their weapons. Yeah, not gonna fight anyone in STD Villa, I stated, pushing them to the wall with my telekinesis. We came here to talk. Melina exclaimed. And the guns were your icebreaker? I snorted. And I thought I was bad at socializing. It was in case we needed to defend ourselves, Alexei added. I would have believed that if it wasn't for the fact you 2 aimed your guns at me after I said hi. I rolled my eyes. Then again, I would have aimed at me too, I am dangerous after all. We truly just want to talk, Melina repeated. Then let's. I smiled, tightening their hold. After all, there was more than one way to talk. Chapter 73. After capturing Alexei and Melina, I transported them to one of my technically inescapable prisons, the same prison I was using to keep Sabretooth out of my life. Then, as a good host, I allowed them to explain why they had come to New York, or more specifically, why they wanted to talk to me. Alexei was the first to start talking, telling me that I was right, that he was a coward. Followed by Melina saying that it took her a while to realize she loved Natasha and Yelena more than her own country, that now she understood why the Red Room castrated them. I could see in their eyes that they were not lying to me. Yelena misses you guys, I said with a sigh. Natasha does too, but she is mature enough to understand it all. I could see the sorrow in their eyes, the shame, but even so, even knowing that they were not lying to me, I was not going to trust them, I couldn't. But I won't let any of you go near them. I added with a stern look on my face. I understand. Melina croaked, tears coursing down her cheeks one after the other. I understand that you don't trust us, but here we are, we betrayed our country for them. Alexei exclaimed pleadingly. You betrayed your country? I laughed, pushing the man against the wall in anger. They trusted you, they loved you. They still do, and you saw them as nothing more than objects to be used, as stones to be used to cement your glory. I know, Alexei replied without looking at me in the eyes, his whole body in a submissive state of acceptance, not a single muscle tense. In other words, he was ready to let me kill him without even trying to stop me. We'll do anything, Melina said, looking into my eyes as I held Alexei against the wall. But let us be a part of their lives. Taking a deep breath, I let go of Alexei. A small part of me wanted to give them a chance. I really wanted to believe they would not hurt them, but how could I trust them? How could I put Nat and Yelena on this ship again? Anything? I asked, looking into her eyes. Yes, Melina replied. I might regret this in the future, but I would give them a chance to start over. If you hurt them, if you breathe out of line, if you blink without telling me about it, I will find you, and I will kill you, but not without making the two of you suffer. Are you giving us a chance? Alexei muttered. Yes. I nodded with a sigh, rubbing my temples. You two will work for me, and in exchange, you will get to be part of their lives, but keep this in mind. I will monitor your every move. We are traitors to our homeland. We have nothing but them anyways, Alexei muttered. And I don't care, I replied with a hiss. My only concern is keeping them safe, and that also includes their emotional safety. So, watch your moves. I don't give a flying fuck if you betrayed Santa on the North Pole, but what you do from now on. What would we do for you? Melina asked. You said we would work for you, but in what? More than not, eliminating organizations like the Red Room, I answered. Like you did with Hydra, Alexei added. Yes, I nodded. Though I am not sure they are gone, not completely, at best, they are a street gang now. Thank you, Melina said with sincerity. Thank you for this opportunity. Don't get too excited, I said, looking at them. I won't force the girls to do anything. Yelena could be the only daughter you two still have. With that said, I opened a portal to my house, but before I left them on their cell, I added one last bit. I will come back in a day or two to talk about our agreement. Enjoy the time to think. The first one I explained what had happened was Natasha, who seemed distressed at the idea. A part of her was happy, I could see that much, but another part was angry, afraid. You are free to give them a second chance, worry not, I will protect you if anything comes to happen, I said, hugging Nat. I don't want to go, Natasha mumbled into my chest. I could tell she was on the verge of crying. I want to stay here, but I don't want to lose Yelena. They won't be far away, heck, they will be next door, I said, patting her on the head. If you want to stay, you are free to do so. But, do you want me to stay? Natasha mumbled in a barely audible voice. What? I asked. Emily said you wanted her to stay, to be your daughter. Is it the same for me? Nat muttered, looking into my eyes. Do you want to be my daughter? I asked, looking at her in the eyes with a small smile. Because if you say yes, there is no turning back. Nat turned, her head looking down as she muttered something I couldn't quite hear. What? Yes, Nat said, this time a bit louder. I want to be part of your family, for real. I want to have what Emily has. I want to be loved by someone who would burn a country down for me. I love them, I do, but I want what Emily has. I deserve what Emily has, she finished with tears. Then welcome to the family. I hugged her. Who would have thought I would have 2 daughters by the age of 25? I'm a selfish person, aren't I? Nat muttered. No. I shook my head. You crave what every person craves, unconditional love. It's a human condition, and fortunately for you, I have plenty to give, I added with a smirk. Do I have to call you Dad now, or? Nat chuckled, using her shirt to clean the tears and snot off her face. I mean, you can take your time, I replied, scratching the back of my head. Emily took hers, you can do the same, I don't mind, I will be happy when you do it, but I won't force it to happen. Yelena will be happy with them. Nat sighed. And you will be happy here with me, I hope. I smiled, like I said, all transactions are final, you have lost your freedom until your college graduation. I already am. Nat hugged me. Chapter 74. 2 weeks after sharing the news with Natasha, I went to the prison where I had Melina and Alexei locked up. During those 2 weeks, I made arrangements to officially keep a very close eye on them and other things, such as Natasha's adoption. I have arranged everything for your arrival, I said, staring at them. Melina shifted slightly, looking at the floor uneasily. When can we see them? She asked, lifting her gaze. In a moment, I replied. Yelena is ready. And Nat? Alexei asked, stepping forward. She will stay with me, I said in a tone that left no room for debate. That's not what you promised us. Alexei growled, approaching me in an aggressive manner. Looking at the man in a detached manner, I said. Think very carefully about what you are going to do, Alexei, it may be the last thing you ever do. Melina, upon seeing this, moved in front of Alexei. Stop it. Natasha asked me to adopt her, I said, and I agreed. By all means, she is my daughter, and if you touch a hair on her head without my consent or hers, it will be the last thing you two ever do. Is she happy? Melina asked. Yes. I agreed. She hates us? Alexei asked, his voice a little broken. No, but she wants more, she wants to be loved like a father should love his daughter. I replied, and I'm willing to give her that. I understand. Melina smiled a smile of understanding but full of sorrow. I'm sorry for my outburst of anger. Alexei apologized. Sighing, I opened a portal to my living room. Come in, I said, waving my hand. Looking at the portal out of the corner of their eyes, Melina and Alexei took a deep breath and began to walk towards the portal with a bit of trepidation. I don't have all day, move it, I said this time with a louder tone. Seeing that I was getting annoyed, Alexei and Melina jumped through the portal, followed by me, who then closed the portal. In my living room, Natasha and Bucky were waiting for them, sitting on my couch. Nat. Melina smiled at the sight of Natasha. Melina. Natasha smiled back, though, in comparison, her smile was smaller and not as full of joy as Melina's. Hi, Alexei said, approaching Natasha to give her a hug, but before it could come, Bucky stopped him. One more step, and I'll slit your throat. Bucky threatened. It's okay, Bucky. Natasha smiled, hugging Bucky with a faint smile. Alexei, long time no see. Is it true you want to stay with him? Alexei said, pointing at me. Yes. Natasha smiled, looking at me. I will always love you, I hope you know that, Alexei said. Yes, but your love is not enough for me, Natasha replied. I know. Alexei nodded. Can I hug you? Melina said, entering the conversation. Yes. Natasha smiled, running over to Melina to give her a hug. He treats you well? Melina whispered. Yes. Natasha smiled. For the first time in my life, I feel wanted, desired, loved. He's a good man, a good father. I'm glad. Melina smiled. Can I hug you? Alexei said in a weak tone. Yes. Natasha smiled as I walked towards Bucky. If you breathe out of place, I'll kill you, Bucky commented. If I don't kill them first, I replied with a chuckle. We can hear them. Alexei commented. So? Bucky said. After the small reunion with Alexei, Melina, and Nat, we went to Yelena's room, and well, this reunion was a bit different. Unlike Natasha, who had some encountered feelings about them, Yelena was happy beyond comprehension. Which made me wonder, how long would that happiness last? I mean, part of the deal with them was that they had to tell Yelena the truth, how they were planning to enslave her, and such. I suppose soon enough, I would know. For now, I would keep an eye on them, which was an entire ordeal altogether. For one, I implanted a tracker inside their spine with the help of Fury, a tracker that also worked as a taser courtesy of Stark Industries, which would help in case they misbehaved. The tracker wasn't for me though, it was for Fury and Bucky to keep an eye on their every move, their rules. They were not allowed to leave the city one step out of New York, and they would need speech therapy after the electric shock they would receive. 2 steps out of New York, they would need to learn how to use a wheelchair. 3 steps? They would need to learn how to communicate by blinks, and so. As for Nat, she seemed happy to be legally my daughter. She was a lot more expressive now, hugging me, smiling more. It was like she was waiting for a paper to say she was my daughter to open up. As for Emily, well, after I told her about Nat's adoption, well, I had to go to the doctor to get an ear exam. Her scream of joy was so loud I think she might have ruptured something inside. Things were going well. Alex, long time no see. Hank greeted me as I entered his office. I was starting to think you were dead, he chuckled. I was dealing with a lot of things, I admitted with a sigh, taking a seat. Well, you got here just in time. Hank smiled, giving me a folder. We have our first investor. Surprised by how fast he had managed to find an investor, I opened the folder he had handed me to see the project he had been working on during my absence and who had invested in it. The U.S. government, the project? Clean energy. Clean energy? I asked. It was an idea I had from my own masterpiece, as you call it. He smiled. Okay. I smiled, now that I knew it was related to his PIM particles. Well, it was best if I didn't answer. It's okay, kid. Hank rolled his eyes. I know you're not interested in my PIM particles, so ask away. And so, I started to ask, I was quite interested how he came with the idea about clean energy thanks to his PIM particles. Chapter 75. After settling Yelena in with her parents and leaving Fury in charge of them, I decided to take a trip to Switzerland with Emily, Natasha, and Bucky for a short getaway to break away from the monotony. Once in Switzerland, we took a cab to our hotel, and our vacations officially started. The girls wanted to go to the Matterhorn, and Bucky really didn't care where we went, so without any objection, we took the first train to the mountain with the intention of taking a few pictures the very next day, after our arrival. Do you think they will let us ski? Asked Natasha with a smile on her face as she looked at the scenery outside the train. I don't really know, I replied, since outside of my missions exterminating Hydra, I had never been here for pleasure. But it would be a waste of touristic cash if they didn't let anyone ski. If they do, Bucky replied. They have several areas designated for that, he added. How do you know that? Emily asked with an excited smile. I read it in the pamphlet, Bucky replied, showing said pamphlet. The seats have one each, he added. Confirming what he said, I looked under my seat, finding a pamphlet under it, which made me chuckle. I think I need to pay more attention, huh? I can't wait to ski. Natasha said with a wide smile. I always wanted to, but, she sighed. Well, let's make this first time memorable. I smiled, ruffling her hair as I eyed the view outside the train through the window. It was really beautiful, breathtaking, a sight to behold. I want to make a snowman. Emily exclaimed proudly, tackling into a hug. 3, 1 for you, 1 for me, and 1 for Nat. I can help and beat you by making mine faster, Natasha smirked. Emily gasped. Betrayer. Natasha winked. Let us battle in a snowman sisterhood war, she grinned. I will vanquish thee. Emily giggled. As for me, well, I was smiling at the sight of the two getting along so well. It took us a few hours to reach the ski resort thingy, mostly because the girls stopped at every corner to take pictures and throw snowballs at me, which I could handle until Bucky joined, and well, I was at a disadvantage. After a few all-out wars of snow, where I drowned Bucky on snow more than once, we finally arrived at the ski resort. Now, here came the hard part. I had no freaking clue how to ski, meaning I was about to suck at it. I should have bought a book in skiing. Now Bucky will steal the spotlight. Now, before we go out and start skiing, I am legally bound to tell you, our gift store at the entrance has a book with clear instructions on how to ski. That's an odd legal clause, oddly specific. Why would books? Where is it? I rushed to the guide that was here to make sure we didn't deviate from the safe path. The gift shop? The guide, whose name I hadn't bothered to learn or ask, said. Yes. I nodded with a smile. Oh sir, there is no need to hurry, the guide smiled at me. We will have time to go there later. I will give you $200 to shut up and take me to the gift shop. I smiled at him, one of those smiles that said, shut up and do as I command. As I said, let's go. The guide smiled, guiding me to the gift shop, while Emily, Bucky, and Nat stared at me, wondering why I was so eager to go to the gift shop. In a way, I didn't need the guy to tell me where the gift shop was, with my map and all, but I had promised before coming here to detach from my powers for the week, to truly live the experience, reason why I was asking, and yes, I know rushing to the store to buy books about skiing to consume them goes against that, but I make the rules. Here we are. The guide smiled as I gave him the $200. Rushing to the book section, I grabbed 3 books about skiing, paid for them, and rushed to the bathroom to consume the books. I'm ready, I declared, kicking the bathroom door open. You didn't know how to ski, didn't you? Bucky grinned. I sighed, no. And you bought all those books to try and learn, right? Bucky asked. Yes, but enough about that, now I have the skiing skills of a dummy, according to the books. I shrugged. Where are the books anyway? Bucky asked. I burned them. I lied, rushing with the girls, Bucky, and 404 error name not found guide back to the start. $14.28 I wasted on nothing. Here was Bucky looking like he was born with ski equipment, while I was barely better than the girls. Skiing for Dummies Volumes 1, 2, and 3, I will buy your company and fire everyone within. Don't feel sad, Daddy. Emily hugged me. We all suck together. I suppose we do. I chuckled. Talk for yourself. Natasha declared full with determination. I will learn how to ski. I believe in you. I smiled. It's not that hard, all you need is balance, Bucky said, doing a fucking cartwheel as he turned around us. Are you showing off? I narrowed my eyes. Yes, I am. Bucky smiled as he continued to majestically ski around us. I chuckled, oh well, sooner or later I would learn, that was the nature of my power, it was never an if, but a when. We continued skiing for the next few hours as I passively leveled up my newfound skiing skill. I'm hungry, Emily said. Same here, Nat nodded. Bucky, take the girls back to the hotel, I want to stay a bit longer here, I said, tossing the man my credit card. Can you open us a portal? Bucky asked. No. Emily jumped. I'll do it, right, she was now a proficient portal user. You heard the boss. I chuckled as Emily proceeded to open a portal for them to go back to the hotel room. I wonder if the hotel will wonder why they suddenly appear without going through the main entrance. Oh well, if push comes to shove, I'll buy the hotel. As Emily's portal closed, I continued skiing, finding that I really liked the feeling. It was relaxing, the cold air on my face, the sounds of nature around, it was all beautiful, it really was. I don't know how long I continued skiing, but eventually, I went off the safe zone, finding a cave. And in my childish curiosity, I stepped inside the cave, wondering if I would find a bear or something. I mean, I knew no wild earth animal could hurt me, maybe a giant squid could, I don't know, but a bear, or a wolf, heck no, which made this entirely safe mission fun in a childish way. However, inside the cave, I found nothing. It was empty, but as I was about to leave, I felt something, a pull, a magical pull, a very weak one, a very old one. Now, my completely safe mission had been upgraded to a somewhat dangerous mission. Caves and magic usually lead to intriguing scenarios. Using my knowledge of the Eldritch arts, I followed the magic signature. It felt like a candle about to go out, very old, and very weak, and very unfamiliar. Its magic didn't feel like the Eldritch arts, or like that of witches that attack me, it was different. My search for this little ember of magic led me to a dead end, facing a freezing wall of rock and nothingness. But even then, I could feel it, behind that rocky wall, the faint ember of magic was there, so I did what any responsible adult in my position would have done, I blasted the wall off. In retrospect, I should have considered the integrity of the cave as a whole and such, but I was having so much doing this, I forgot for a minute I could have brought the entire cave down on my ass. With the wall down, I now had access to a new section of the cave, which I entered, once again following the magical signature. Each step bringing me closer to the magic I was chasing until eventually, I reached another dead end, one that I was about to blow until I noticed the walls had writings. Nordic, by what little I could understand. Gat gata at scar. I hummed, reading the runes out loud. From what I could understand, this was at one point a place of worship to the Norse gods, though I wonder why did they write open path to Asgard, were they trying to open a portal there? All of a sudden, the runes started to shine in a bright blue color as I cursed internally. I shouldn't have read these out loud. Checking my mana, I noticed a small portion of it was gone. Yep, definitely shouldn't have read those out loud. I sighed as magic started to engulf me. Chapter 76. The runes within the cave pulsed with magic as they began to open a portal to another dimension, shrouding me in ancient Nordic magic. Sighing, I decided to put an end to the light show occurring around me, using my own magic to stop the process, deactivating the runes. So this is an old portal to Asgard. This little thing would be interesting for another time. Now I wanted to get back to the hotel. Asgard would be there tomorrow. Closing the cave with an eldritch runic illusion, I left the place there for future research as I opened a portal back to the hotel. In my room, I found Bucky, Natasha, and Emily watching a movie. "What are you doing in my room?" I asked them as I grabbed a change of clothes from my suitcase. It was funny seeing the stoic Bucky being such a good uncle. "Your TV is bigger than ours, and it's movie night." Emily smiled, showing me the movie they had rented. Pocahontas. "I see, well. While you're doing that, I'm going to take a shower and then dinner, so let me know if there's anything else," I said as I went into the bathroom to take a shower and change into something more comfortable. The next few days, things continued as planned, with me, Bucky, and the girls enjoying our short vacation. We skied, we bought stuff we would never use, the normal. Eventually, the time to come home had arrived, and so, we boarded the plane back to the USA, with a lot of memories in our hearts and cameras. "Can we go to Spain next?" Nat asked, stretching her legs on her seat. "Sounds like a plan." I smiled. Spain was amongst the countries I wanted to visit. "Oh, after that, we could go to Italy or France," Emily added with a smile, closing her eyes at the end of her sentence. "First, let's see if you girls keep your grades as good as you have them right now, and then, we can discuss all the trips we will do." I winked at them. "And here I was thinking you were about to give us a challenge," Natasha smirked cockily. "Keep talking, and I will get creative with my easy challenges," I smirked back. "I would like to take back my last statement." Nat chuckled. "Smart girl." I chuckled back. "Do you guys want anything to eat?" Bucky asked, showing us the menu. "God, I love having money." I hummed, grabbing the menu. "Oh, sirloin steak." I smiled, my mouth watering the thought. "I think I'll take 2 of these and some whiskey." "I want a burger," Emily said. "With fries," she added. "I want the sirloin too, with fries," Nat said. "And a Coke." "I want a Fanta," Emily said. "What about you, Bucky?" I asked. "A burger, fries, and beer." Bucky, like always, having simple demands. "Okay." I nodded, waving at the flight attendant to get our order. "What can I do for you today, Mr. Walker?" The flight attendant said with the utmost respect. "We are famished, so we would like some food if your kitchen is working." I chuckled. "Of course, our kitchens never fail, worry not." She didn't understand the joke. "Perfect then, ready for our order?" I asked. "Yes," the flight attendant nodded. "Perfect, we would like 2 burgers with everything, both with fries, one with a Fanta, and the other with a beer." I said, we would also like 3 sirloin steaks, fries with them. Whiskey for one of them, and Coke for the other 2. 2 Cokes? Nat inquired. "It for when the whiskey is gone." I smiled. "Perfect, Mr. Walker, I'll be with your order in a bit." "In the meantime, would you like one of our famous appetizers?" the flight attendant inquired. "Surprise me." I nodded. "As you wish," the flight attendant smiled, leading back to the kitchen. After our flight, we drove back home, and everyone went to their respective rooms to sleep. Something about food and flying makes one sleepy. Checking my phone, I was glad to find Alexei and Melina were behaving, doing just as I told them. "Bucky," I called. A few seconds later, Bucky opened my door. "What?" he asked. I need to work, so I might be gone for a week. I was eager to study the runes in the cave and visit Asgard if time allowed it. I'll take care of everything, Bucky nodded. You have a credit card with no limits, so keep things running. I smiled. Will do. Bucky smiled back. With that said and done, I opened a portal to the cave I had found during my trip, leaving Bucky in charge of the house and other things. Time to see if there's anything more than portal runes in this cave, I said, as the portal behind me closed. I continued studying the runes within the cave, reading and translating each rune with extreme care, all while ensuring my mana didn't infuse the runes at all. First, I wanted to be sure this portal wasn't a portal to transport criminals back to Asgard. The last thing I wanted was to end in a place where I could not use magic to escape or, worse, in the room of Odin with Frigga inside. If my calculations were correct, the man was powerful enough to use a fly swatter and one-shot me, so angering him was not on my list of things to do. On the contrary, I wanted to make an alliance with him, maybe make some friendly ties with Asgard as a whole. It would undoubtedly help me in the future, especially with Thanos coming. Perhaps even stop Ragnarok while I was at it. I mean, all I had to do was keep the Sultor's crown on my inventory, and he would never destroy Asgard. Though my main objective with them was getting some URU, that metal alone was worth the trip to Asgard, or I needed to get the location of Nidavellir, which alone and without help could very well take me years to locate. Let's see what else I can learn. Chapter 77. I continued to study the runes at the cave for hours. Noticing a few discrepancies in some of the runes, it seemed whoever made the cave as a teleporting post was not exactly well versed in magic. For one, if anyone with a below-average amount of mana tried to open the portal, well, let's just say not all of him or her would have arrived at Asgard. The portal was so poorly done, that it would activate regardless if the user used the correct amount of mana or not. Perhaps they did it in a rush, perhaps whoever did the portal was just running away from something. Beyond that, the portal was seemingly functional to the best of its broken capability. As long as the user had a decent amount of mana to compensate for the poor craftsmanship of the portal, the gate would open. Now the question was, should I open the portal to Asgard, or wait for a bit? It was a tough decision. For one, I had no idea how was Asgard's policy against visitors. And considering they had beings like Odin, Thor, Loki, and Frigga defending the place, the last thing I wanted was to start up a fight I knew I couldn't possibly win by appearing out of nowhere. But on the other side, the upside was so good, it was worth the risk to some extent. Sighing, I started to weigh my options on a mental scale. Going would really open a path for me, I muttered, as I looked at the runes again. But depending on who I meet first, a fight will be imminent. I mean, Thor is on his idiot phase, he learns to have a brain after the events of Thor, but right now, all he is a muscle head, with serious testosterone problems. I could always outsmart him. He was all brawn, all I need is him rushing at me without a care for the world, and me opening a portal to the North Pole. Fuck it. I sighed. Sometimes in life, you had to take a risk. Reading the runes out loud, I infused the place with my mana and this time allowed the place to do its intended work. The process was painfully slow, which practically erased the possibility this portal was done as a rushed job to escape something. I mean, what is the point of making something fast to escape something if the portal takes a minute to do its thing? You might as well kill yourself and save the enemy the trouble, as a professional courtesy. Eventually, the portal engulfed my entire body on dimensional magic, finally pushing me out of the cave. It was somewhat painful, another defect I had just found. The portal was actively hurting me, taking bits of my HP, not enough to be a concern, but enough to know anyone below level 50 would have died in 3 seconds or less. Minus 2,500 HP. Minus 2,500 HP. Minus 2,500 HP. Minus 2,500 HP. 2 minutes later, the cave finally teleported me to Asgard. The middle of it, like right on the plaza. As one would expect, the soldiers that were patrolling the place raised their weapons at me, which was totally understandable. I would have done the same if someone popped into my living unannounced. I come in peace? I offered with a small smile. In the name of Asgard and the All-Father, freeze! A soldier barked. Harold Eindridison LV-60. Sure. I nodded. Who are you? A female soldier asked. Astrid Germundator LV-62. I am a human, I come from Earth, or Midgard as you guys know it, and I want a meeting with the Allfather, if he allows it, of course, I answered as the soldiers started to circle me. I knew the strategy, now if I made a move, they had the tactical advantage. How did you enter Asgard, human? A new soldier asked, Rodi Vajerson LV-59. I found a portal on Earth, and well here I am, I replied, so far I had no reasons to withhold information. You will come with us, Astrid Germundator said, with a tone of finality. Sure. I smiled. Lead the way. Understandably they took me to a small cell, one normally used for small offenders as they sorted out what to do with me. I stayed out of my own volition, even without magic breaking out would have been a piece of cake, but I wanted to show them I honestly came in peace. So, you are the human that appeared in the plaza? I heard a feminine voice say in a commanding tone. Yes, that would be me. I nodded, turning to meet my visitor. Sif, the Nordic goddess of war LV-139, she was mesmerizingly beautiful, there was a veil of danger around her beauty that made her all the more attractive, it was shocking really. I expected that level to be a bit higher, it's high nonetheless. Why have you come to Asgard? Sif inquired, taking a seat outside my cell. To talk with the Allfather, I answered. Sif stared at me as if trying to see if I was lying. Why? I want to form some friendly ties with him, and maybe get to know this place, I replied looking around. I say we let him battle his right to speak with my father. I heard someone shout, as he came into my cell. I didn't even need to see who it was to know it was Thor. Battle, huh? I hummed as Thor came into view. Thor Odinson LV-267. Well, that was problematic if he wanted to fight me. Yes, after all, only the mightiest warriors get to see the Allfather. Thor grinned, his hand going to the hammer hanging on his waist. And let me guess, you want to fight me? I asked with an amused tone. You guessed correct, human. Thor nodded with a smile. Sure, sounds fun. I smiled, I was about to get my ass kicked, but I would learn a trick or two. Besides, if this helped me get a meeting with Odin, so be it. Huzzah! Thor grinned as Sif facepalmed. Chapter 78. I happily agreed to battle Thor. Knowing full well he didn't expect me to defeat him, he just wanted to have some fun. So, where do we battle? I asked, eyeing the god of thunder with just the hint of a smile. In the arena, where else? Thor grinned. Our battle will be legendary, or boring, last time I checked humans were squishy, he muttered. I chuckled. Most are. I conceded. Then I hope you are not. Thor smiled, opening my cell. Thor, the Allfather asked me to talk with him, and decide whether or not he is worthy of meeting him. Sif hissed with a tight smile. It's okay, Lady Sif. I chuckled. After the battle, I can come back to the cell if that helps your vetting process, but a workout would do me good. Sif sighed. I suppose that could work. Huzzah! Thor grinned. Then let us battle into bloody glory. The god of thunder exulted, pumping his fist in the air in delight. So where is this arena you speak of? I asked. Follow me, my friend. Thor said, grabbing my arm like a kid eager to play. How the fuck was this man over 1,000 years old? I would never know. When Thor challenged me to a duel, I expected a small affair, not a fucking arena full of people cheering for him. Yes, I know. Thor smiled, bathing in all the love and adoration the people of Asgard were giving him. God, is he always like this? I muttered to myself. Yes. I heard someone reply. Loki Odinson LV-223. Hi. I waved at Loki. At first sight, he didn't seem so bad, but that was usually the case with crazy people. Loki looked at me for a moment, before he finally decided to wave back. You won't beat my brother with brawn, so do try to use that brain of yours, human, he said, leading to his seat. I don't know if he was being friendly, or not. Now, in case you don't have one, We can provide you with the finest Asgardian armor we have to battle, Sif said as she approached me. I'm fine, I have my own armor. I smiled, denying her offer. You know you can die here, right? Sif sighed, looking at Thor. Thor is not one known for his restraint, he will go all out, especially if he has an audience. Believe it or not, I am not as squishy as I look. I smiled. Though worry not, I'm not aiming for a victory, I can feel he's stronger than me, so all I plan to do is earn his respect through combat. I feel this is how the god of thunder makes friends. Sif chuckled. That or getting drunk, or both at the same time. I know this is a long shot, but any tips? I asked, looking at Thor doing JoJo poses for his fans. Sif smiled. Let him lead. Thor usually becomes predictable when you let him be the one dictating the rules of the battle. Mighty thanks, Lady Sif. I smiled. Good luck, human. Sif smiled, going to her seat. Father! Thor shouted, getting my attention. Turning around, I witnessed as the All-Father arrived at the arena, looking at Thor with an exasperated look. Odin Borson LV 475. Holy cannelloni, that is a high fucking level, I think the highest I have ever seen. I give you this victory, Father. Thor shouted with a smile. I give you this victory, he doesn't even consider me a threat, awesome. Inhabitants of Asgard. An Asgardian soldier said, his voice both grave and sharp. Today we have a unique event, a warrior of Midgard will battle the crown prince of Asgard in an epic battle. Oh, he was the announcer, cool. The soldier allowed a moment of silence as Thor continued to flex his muscles. I know what many of you think, but he's a human, he will die in less than a second, he is weak, puny, and at best an ant against our prince. I was going to kill that announcer. But he is different, he is mighty. The mightiest human. Maybe not, maybe he would live. The announcer smiled, as the arena was filled with cries of joy and delight. You will witness the titanic battle of two warriors from different worlds, different species, the mightiest of their kind, clashing in honorable combat here today, he continued, getting more cries of joy from the audience. Well, this guy knows how to sell some tickets. I chuckled, seeing the Asgardian people shout with joy. Without further ado, let the battle of might begin. The announcer shouted, walking out of the stage. All right. Thor smiled, cracking his neck. Okay. I sighed, equipping my armor. Bucky POV. When Alex left me in charge, I expected many things, but one of them wasn't the girls ganging up on me to do me a makeover. Come on, is not that bad. Nat grinned, as she continued doing my hair. You should attack your father, not me, I muttered, as Emily painted my nails. Daddy will get his, he will not see it coming, but he will get his. Emily smiled an evil smile. For now, we only have you. Nat chuckled. And you will look fabulous. I sighed. As long as you attack your father one day, I am all for it. I sighed, at least I was not alone on this today. What the fudge are you complaining about? Fury asked as he narrowed his eyes on me. At least they didn't put a wig on you. I'm not bald, I replied as a matter of fact. Touché. Fury sighed. Don't worry, we will only ever take a few hundred pics. Nat grinned. That's so evil. Emily gasped. I like it, she added with a deep tone. I don't feel safe. Fury muttered. We need more glitter. Emily declared, running into her room for the emergency glitter package. I never thought playing makeover would be so fun. Nat chuckled as she saw Emily run out of the room. Great, glitter, Fury sighed. I will look like a stripper when I got back to the office. Chapter 79. Sif POV. The announcer's voice echoed through the audience for the last time as I took a seat beside the Warrior 3, Loki, and the Allfather. Let the battle begin. Do you think the human will last more than a few seconds? Volstagg asked Frandal. Nope. Frandal chuckled. The announcer had barely finished his sentence when Thor instantly charged at the human with a confident grin on his face, ready to slam him with his hammer. The latter, taking my advice, was already in a defensive stance, letting Thor dictate the pace of the combat, waiting for him, which allowed him to dodge Thor's hammer by just an inch. "You owe me a beer." Volstagg laughed, punching Frandel. "Well, I guess I do." Frandel sighed. The human took a step back and blocked Thor's next two blows with his forearms, before attempting to blast Thor away with some sort of magic laser, which ultimately failed when Thor started to spin Mjolnir, blocking the attack. Taking a step back, the human got into another stable defensive stance, as he eyed Thor with caution. Grinning, Thor quickly continued the assault, throwing his hammer at him, but with a quick circular move of his hands, the human opened some kind of portal, redirecting Thor's attack back at him. Then, as Thor lost his balance thanks to Mjolnir hitting on the head, the human leaped at Thor, punching him in the face with devastating force. The attack threw Thor even more off balance, and the human intended to press his advantage. The human pushed Thor back with a flurry of attacks, each punch and kick being stronger than the last. Unfortunately for the human, Thor recovered quickly and with a satisfied smile, punched the human away, recovering his hammer with his other hand. "This is fun," Thor declared with a wide grin. "It is." The human chuckled as he stood up from the ground. "Let us continue," Thor shouted, and in the blink of an eye, he closed the distance between him and the human, pushing him back with a powerful set of attacks, using his godly domain to punish the human. It was clear what the result of this match was going to be. The human was quickly becoming overwhelmed by Thor's superior raw force, and adding lightning to that was pushing him even more. And under such conditions, he had begun a slow retreat backwards under the onslaught of incoming blows, blood seeping out of his armor. "You know," Thor said with a smirk, blasting the human away with a lightning bolt. "You are the first human I have ever battled that lasted this long. Not even Asgardians take such a beating and keep on fighting." The prince was clearly happy. "Well, I must admit though, I am nearing my limit." The human sighed with a small chuckle. Thor chuckled. "Then let us end this? Shall we?" "Let's," the human nodded, summoning a massive ball of pure fiery inferno on his hands. "Hellfire," he shouted, blasting the ball into the arena. Seconds later, a pillar of flammers engulfed Thor, and the once cheering audience was rendered mute. Even the Warrior Three had gone silent, watching the arena in shock. "That actually hurt," Thor shouted, flying out of the flaming pillar with a few minor burns as he rushed towards the human, hammer at hand. "That was the intention," the human shouted back, summoning another pillar below Thor. Grinning, Thor raised his hammer above his head as the fire engulfed him once more, and with the might expected of the crown prince of Asgard, brought down on the human the might of the Asgardian gods with the clap of a thunder. Unable to dodge the attack, the human stood still, tanking Thor's thunder, as his fire pillars dissipated. "I give up," the human eventually muttered, going down on his knees. Thor flew towards him and grabbed the human by the arms. "It was an honorable fight." "Honor hurts," the human chuckled, groaning in pain. "Let me take you to the infirmary." Thor chuckled, carrying the human away. "And there you have it, Asgard. The winner is Thor Odinson," the announcer declared, and once again the audience was shouting in joy, and in a newfound respect for the human. "Well, that was unexpected," Fandral admitted. Volstagg chuckled. "He fought like a true warrior, even though he knew winning was not an option." He grinned. "Does he has Asgardian blood?" "I don't know," Fandral replied, considering the thought. "Why would an Asgardian live on Midgard?" Loki rolled his eyes. "Well, Asgardian or not, he gave us quite the show," I admitted. "Never in my long life I expected a human to show such prowess in combat. It pained me to admit it, but I doubted anyone here besides Thor, and the All-Father himself had a chance against him." "He did." Hogun nodded. "His prowess was rather shocking." "So now what, Father?" Loki said, looking at Odin. "We give the human an Asgardian welcome," Odin replied with a neutral look. "Huzzah!" Volstagg grinned. "A feast. Will you ever think with your brain? And not your stomach?" Loki muttered. "Too much thinking cuts in my eating time." Volstagg defended. Well, if you all excuse me, I will go ahead and check how the human and Thor are doing, I said, taking my leave. Send him our regards, Fandral shouted. Or you could do it yourself? Hogan sighed, following me into the infirmary. Wait for me, Volstagg said as he ran towards us. Hey! Don't leave me with Loki, we have nothing in common, Fandral shouted, following us. By the time we arrived at the infirmary, Thor and the human were laughing, both with a mug of beer at hand. This human beer is truly magnificent, Thor declared. And the mug never empties, truly the best thing I have ever seen. Infinite beer? Volstagg cried, tears falling down his eyes. I love this human. I guess that makes him your friend, huh? I chuckled, looking at Thor. He fought with me, he drank with me. He is my blood brother, Thor declared with a grin. What can I say, people love me. The human smiled, winking at me. Can I get one of those? Volstagg said, his two index fingers touching in a shy manner. Sure, the human smiled, summoning another mug out of nowhere. Volstagg grinned, like a child grabbing the mug. This is the day I find true happiness. Hey, don't leave the handsome one hanging. Fandral smirked, approaching the human. You're at best a 5 out of 10, but sure. The human shrugged, giving him a mug too. What about you two? He asked. I prefer tea, Hogan replied. I don't mind getting one. I smiled. A tea mug, and a beer one coming right up. The human smiled. By the way, weren't you hurt a few seconds ago? Fandral asked. He was, but then he drank some red stuff, and was as good as new. Thor answered for him. He even gave me one for my burns, it tasted like cherry, or blood, not sure. Chapter 80. After my battle with Thor, things changed for the better. I was basically welcomed to Asgard with open arms, just because I had battled their prince honorably. Though I was a bit salty I didn't manage to hurt him nearly as much as he hurt me. I even used on my strongest magical spell, Hellfire, which I got from one of the many dungeons I had completed. Nonetheless, I suppose the result of the match was favorable. I got my chance to meet Odin, after the feast the king himself was throwing in my honor, which if you asked me it was a bit too much. But, considering they have at least a weekly feast, maybe is not that important. You battle like a true warrior, Sif said, snapping me out of my long reverie. Thanks. I smiled. So, are now Midgardians as strong as you? Sif asked with a smile. Well, no. I chuckled. I can count with one hand how many humans are around my level. Well, still a surprising feat, Sif nodded. In my 1,000 years, I have never witnessed a human with such prowess in battle. Well, you know us, ever evolving. I smiled. I suppose that is true. Sif nodded. Here goes nothing, so, while we wait for the feast, care to give me a tour of this wonderful place you call home? Is this how humans court each other? Sif snorted, raising a single eyebrow. I chuckled. Who said I am courting you? I challenged. Fair enough. Sif chuckled. Let's start this tour human. Our tour started at the place I was apprehended, the main plaza, which now looked more beautiful without people poking me with spears and stuff. Here was where we captured you, which now I know, it would have been a whole more difficult had you not been so cooperative. Sif began. Isn't that a general rule? People that don't resist are usually easy to capture, I replied. I suppose, but regardless of that, you made our job remarkably less messy, Sif stated. So is Midgard bigger than Asgard? I asked. Yes, Sif replied. Our planet is small compared to Midgard, but is bigger in other senses. Army-wise, I suppose, I replied. Indeed. Sif smiled. So now what? I asked. Now we go to the market, Sif replied, and so the tour continued. I had to admit, Asgard was beautiful beyond anything I had ever seen. It was mesmerizing. Heck, I was even considering in buying a vacation house here. If my money was any good here, I had no idea what Asgardians considered valuable or not. Eventually, our tour came to an end at the gates of Odin's feast hall. And here we are, Sif said, looking at the gates. The feast already started? I asked, hearing the sounds of music and people inside. Yes, feasts usually start before the guest of honor arrives. It is considered an insult to show the guest to the party before it begins. Sif nodded. Cultural differences. Well, let's not keep the people waiting. I grinned. Let's not. Sif nodded, as I opened the gates. Human, welcome. Odin's voice boomed through the audience as I walked inside. A pleasure to meet you. I bowed ever so lightly. Come, take a seat beside my son. Odin smiled, pointing to where Thor was seated. Here, buddy. Thor smiled, waving at me like a kid that had saved his best friend a seat. Here, here. Volstagg echoed him. Thanks. I bowed once again and walked towards Thor, as I eyed Loki, who seemed to be side-glaring at me. Alone with Lady Sif, huh? Fandral chuckled. You must have a death wish. Unlike you, he can keep it on his pants, Sif replied before I had the chance. It was one time. One. Fandral replied in an insulted manner. So, how's the food? I asked, taking a seat beside Thor. Delicious, put your feeble Misgardian lips of this mighty Asgardian chicken and see. Feeble, this bitch. Ignoring his lack of social tact, I grabbed a piece of chicken and bit into it. It was good, very good, but nothing like out of the park. I had tasted better chicken on earth. Top 5, but not the best, I said. Are you saying the mightiest chicken is on Midgard? Thor asked, looking at his chicken in shock. Indeed. I nodded. It's settled, I must visit Midgard with you when you go back. I'll stay on your castle. Thor exclaimed. I want to go too. Volstagg shouted. Same, Midgardian ladies need a bit of Fandral. Fandral smirked. He isn't coming, I stated. Wise choice, Hogan nodded. Hey. Fandral pouted. I concur with Hogan. Sif smiled. You guys are mean. Fandral sighed as he stood up and walked to the drinks. Odin Borson, POV. Alex Walker, the apprentice of Yao, now known as the Ancient One if memory serves me right. I wonder, why is he here? It has been some time since the last Midgardian came to Asgard, a few hundred years. Though, I wasn't sure if he was a human. While I knew he came from Midgard, his spiritual energy gave a different reading, one that I couldn't quite figure out what it was, or where it came from. But one thing was for sure, whatever I was feeling, it was older than me. Perhaps older than Asgard itself. You've been staring at the Midgardian for quite a while, Frigga muttered into my ear. Is there something wrong? No, I shook my head. Just watching him and Thor become friends. He's strong, Frigga commented. He is, I nodded ever so lightly. What do you think he wants? He did say he wanted to talk with you. Frigga said. I don't know, but I can't wait to find out, I replied. In all honesty, I had no idea what his motive for being here was, but I had a feeling it had to do with him possessing the Space Stone. That wraps up this part of What If Reincarnated in Marvel as a gamer. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.